Morning guys, morning peoples, how are we doing today? Welcome to Regarding Addiction once again. This will be the first video. So just to start off with, I just need to state that I am not a medical professional in any way, shape or form. I am a small business owner, I work in the construction industry, and I am an addict. All that this channel is going to do is share my opinion and my experiences in battling my own demons and addiction as an illness. So I won't be giving advice, and I definitely won't be giving any medical facts. I'll only be discussing my experiences and get some stuff off the internet and see if we can humanize it a bit. So for our first video, I thought let's go with something off the cuff. Are you an addict? You might be wondering, am I an addict? Or you might be wondering, is someone that you love an addict? How does that get defined? How does that look in real life? How does that look in your life? So I went on to Google. I went a quick Google search, just came up with a few things, and I thought we'll go through a couple of them and see if we can humanize what the Google says just a little bit. Determining if you are and have an addiction can be complex. It says it can be complex. It can definitely be complex. It was very complex for me. Loss of control. So yeah, loss of control, very vague, eh? If you find yourself unable to stop or reduce your behavior, whether it's using a substance or gambling, etc., despite repeated attempts, this could be a sign of addiction. Well, okay, a little bit more clear. If you find yourself unable to stop. So, I went for a very long time believing that I'm not an addict because of what I believe civilization's idea of an addict is. Now that's definitely come a long way in the recent past with people like Gabor Mate, Johan Henry, and great many other actual medical people speaking on the subject. So if you search the internet, you can come up with a lot of stuff. You can also come up with a lot of BS, unfortunately. But for me, I was under the impression that an addict is somebody that wakes up in the morning and needing that fix, needing the substance or the thing. In my case, it was the substance, latter, and then first it was alcohol. I took a long time believing, because I could go 2 to 3 weeks in between intervals, and then I'll binge for 3, 4, 5 days, and then I'll go another week. So it's only in the latter year or 2 years that it became kind of every 2-3 days, and more frequent. But for the better part of 18-19 years, it went sometimes a month, 2, sometimes 3-4 weeks, depending on circumstance, because at that point I saw it as a celebratory thing and a party thing and it's only in the latter years when I discovered I've got a problem and I went to see an addiction counselor, that he explained to me that my addiction cycle can, different people have different cycles. So you can have a cycle of a day to day, or you can have a cycle of 3 weeks, or you can have a cycle of 1 month, but it's still a cycle. It's still something that I did on a repeated basis that had negative consequences in my life. Okay, and I could not stop it. I could not cut it out and be happy for 6 months or a year. Okay, it had to happen at some point. And for me, and especially the latter couple of years, it became very evident that so by the Monday, I was able to tell you without a doubt, with a feeling, not a decision, but with a feeling of knowing that by Thursday, Friday, I was going to use. So yeah, definitely look, like Gabor Mate, if I may paraphrase him, he says an addiction is anything that you have that has negative consequences on your life in the long term. It gives you pleasure in the short term, and you struggle to give it up. And I really related to that description when I heard it the first time. That in fact is one of the things that got me, before I joined a 12-step program, that got me to realize what's going on in my life. Okay, so the second one that I got here is preoccupation. You might spend a lot of time thinking about or planning your next opportunity to engage in the behavior. For me, I don't think that was really the case. I very much acted impulsively. The latter years, firstly, when I say latter years, I'm talking about the last 2 years of active addiction. It was a matter of when the thought came up, I acted on it. And that thought came up kind of in the vicinity of 3 days to a week, depending on what size or what length my binge was. Before that, I don't think I spent the intervals thinking about my using or my engaging in the substance or the process of it, but I do understand, and through working at 12-step programs, I have spoken to a lot of people or heard from a lot of people that can relate with that statement. So yes, you might be overthinking it, but it's not really something that I can speak of so much. And that's also part of the complexity of addiction, is you are unique as a human being, and your addiction is unique because it's part of you. I've always described my addiction as a person that lives in my head. It's an evil mini-me, so to speak. I call him Little Richard. And what he is, for lack of a better phrase, the darkness inside me. He's the one that does the negative self-talk. He's the one, so that's how I identify him. And he's not gone away. He doesn't go away. He will never go away. Okay, he's a part of me, and I need to be vigilant for his decisions. And I need to identify which is his decisions and which are actual decisions that what I make for growth of life and personal development. He is a part of me, but he also wants me to be dead in a gutter somewhere. And that is where the work starts. So, anyway, moving on. Negative consequences. Continued use despite negative consequences on your health, relationships, work, or other important areas of your life. Look, how many times did we say, just one more time? This will be the last. No, just one this time. No, I'm going to be doing this only on Fridays. These are things that comes from the 1930s when the big book was really written by the AA gurus. And I've got news for you. If you think you're the only one thinking these thoughts, you're not. It's garden variety addict thoughts. Okay? We are not special, and we are not alone. Negative consequences, absolutely. You justify it with all kinds of, it could go as far as shopping, where you justify buying unnecessary items because you might one day need it. Or it could be a substance where you justify the using of it because it's a celebratory moment or because it's a bad moment and you need to numb yourself. The fact of the matter is, there's always, if you sit and you be honest with yourself, you can always identify the negative consequences that this thing has over you. where it's either wreaked havoc on your personal life, on your relationships, on your work life, on your finances. For me, it was very much a finance issue. Finances, the coming or the going of it was always a big trigger for me. So that's the things that I watch out for now. And the way I battle that is with gratitude of what I've got. You know, there's lots and lots of TED Talks and quotes and motivational speakings and stuff out there, which a lot of us would see as cliche stuff. They're a cliche for a reason. Most of them are true. And it's all very effective tools. One of my favorite one is no bargaining. No bargaining was probably in early recovery one of the most effective tools I had for my use, and it is simple. When you find yourself bargaining with yourself about whether or not to do something, the answer is no. Simple. Standing in front of a shelf trying to convince yourself that it's okay to buy something, no, it's not okay. Wondering if you should phone the dealer, saying no, it'll be the last time, what you're bargaining with yourself? No. And that is really as easy as that. Black and white, no bargaining, simple. When you bargain, it's a no. And that will solve a lot of it. It did for me anyways. Tolerance and withdrawal. Needing more of the substance or behavior to achieve the same effect, and experiencing withdrawal symptoms when not engaging in it. Yeah, well, look, over 22 years of active addiction for me, obviously the quantities varied over the 22 years, different stages of my life, a little bit more here, a little bit less there, but generally, if you look at the graph, it was always going up. I'm not going to specify as to what's amounts and stuff, that's not important, but I think any person, if you're alone at night, that moments before you fall asleep, when you're alone with your thoughts and you've got no one else to answer for, look cool for, or impress, you can see what's going on if you think like a third eye, a bird's eye view. Normally, you can see a clear spiral where quantity's gone up, quality of life went down. Look, only in the last 2 years I started making peace with the fact that I might be an addict. That makes 20 years of active addiction I can now identify as active addiction, where I didn't even consider the fact that I was an addict. It might sound shocking, but really I think it's often the case. And even when I started making peace with the fact that I might be an addict, I was jokingly talking about drug addiction for the first year of those 2 years. It was only in the last 6 months that I saw that I started to think that I really needed to make a change and I needed to do something about this. When I realized this is a problem that's going to kill me. And going to see an addiction counselor was step one for me, which was key, because nobody wants to walk into a room full of people sitting in a circle and blare out this all. It's daunting, we're afraid of it. So the idea of joining a 12-step program was a big no-no for me. I felt safer in an office one-on-one, but that cost me money. So when that money ran out, I joined an online meeting, and I could not describe to you how instantly I felt welcome and loved, and how it was absolutely the furthest thing from what I expected it would be. But anyway, we'll discuss 12-step meetings when we get there. Loss of interest. Losing interest in activities you once enjoyed because of the addictive behavior taking priority. So for me there, I started isolating. For the last few years of my active addiction, I was either at work and sometimes using at work, or I was at home alone, or with 1 or 2 people using with me, but predominantly alone. I did not do the things I wanted to do anymore, especially after COVID. I did not go to the cinema, I did not go out. It just wasn't of interest. I had to go home where I could safely do what I wanted to do. So yeah, definitely loss of interest. Secrecy and deception. Ooh, there's a big one. Secrets and lies. Ugh. You know, probably one of the best things that I got out of recovery and early on was just the relief from lying. Being able to wake up in the morning and not dread all the lies that was told and how they're going to catch up to you. I know of one guy that often shares and he says that his mobile phone was like a laxative, because every time it rang he wanted to poo in his pants. That was very similar to how I experienced it in the latter years. Failed attempts to quit, trying unsuccessfully to quit back, or to quit entirely, to cut back, or to quit entirely. Yeah, okay, so, you know, I honestly can't say that I ever really tried to quit, because I never saw myself as an addict. I thought it was, you know, just me that couldn't do certain things right, that couldn't get life right. But I mean, if you ever try to stop smoking, I think you can relate to that one. I mean, that's the essence of it all. You know, people might say, "Oh, what's the good one?" Is the I'm a functioning addict. No such thing as a functioning addict. It just means that you're lucky enough to be able to still operate to a certain degree. But I can guarantee you, it doesn't mean that you're happy. You don't go through life the way that you should be going through life. I found life only after I got clean and sober, and it's got nothing to do with what I have on this earth, but it's everything to do with what's going on in my mind, and how I accept who I am, what I am, and how I'm grateful for what I have and who is in my life. Anyway, so that's 7 little things that the Google says that is signs for, are you an addict? So if you are wondering if you're an addict, look, there's a lot of things on the internet that will find you. I hope you watch this video, and I hope it helps you a little bit. Thanks for letting me share.